If you guys just bought your new Herrington Arms HCPDP compensator, we're going to show you guys how to install it, uninstall it, and answer some frequently asked questions. So now we're going to show you guys how to install your PDP compensator. Remove the magazine, make sure the gun is clear. Remove the slide from the frame. Now with some of our other compensators that are not finned compensators, you don't have to remove the guide rod when you install this. However, we have an aftermarket guide rod that is actually protruding the face of the slide, so we're going to want to pull this guide rod out to install. Okay, now that that is removed, we're going to want to clean our barrel threads with a degreaser. Make sure that this is really clean. We're also going to clean the threads on the set screws. What this is going to do is it's going to keep everything nice and clean, so when you install your Loctite, it actually sets up properly. Wet Loctite will not cure on an oil, so you're going to want to make sure that that is free of all oils. So I already cleaned the barrel threads beforehand. Now we're going to give this set screw a good wipe. I did soak it in a degreaser, but you can still see some residual oils coming off of this. So you definitely want to get these good and clean. We always recommend you use blue 243 Loctite. We sell this on the site if you want to pick it up there. But you can usually find this at really any big box store, Walmart, Home Depot, all of them have that. So make sure you install this with blue 243 Loctite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my giant jug here of 243 Loctite, and we will start this install. We're going to go ahead and start applying Loctite to the barrel threads, and we can thread on this compensator. I'm going to leave the barrel hood locked in place, and we're going to thread this on until it stops. So let's see, it's going to stop right there. Obviously you can't shoot it like that, so we're just going to back it off a half turn to that location there. And now what I like to do is I like to install the guide rod. It's going to keep that barrel locked in place while you install the compensator. What I would typically do is I would put the guide rod in the slide to kind of keep everything locked in place. Since this is an uncaptured guide rod, it's going to be a little bit harder. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to throw these set screws in place and get them snug with the long end of the Allen key, and then we'll install the guide rod and finish tightening down the compensator. So let's go ahead and throw some Loctite on here and throw these in the compensator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch the bottom of the compensator and the guide rod location there so that it's somewhat aligned, and just go until it stops. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to clean up the Loctite so we're not making a huge mess. Let's go to the other side. This Loctite takes a little bit of time to set up, so we'll have plenty of time to install this guide rod properly. We're just going to use the long end until it stops. We don't need to actually tighten it down. Get rid of all the Loctite. This is actually aligned, so we don't have to spend too much time tweaking it. But I'm going to go ahead and install this, and then we will finish tightening everything down. Now that that is installed, what we can do is we can loosen these set screws back up a little bit. Now we can loosen these set screws up a little bit, perfectly align the compensator. Best way to do that is to pinch the bottom of the compensator and the guide rod location here. There's a little bit of a mismatch in sizing. The compensator is slightly smaller than the guide rod, so you have to center that up. And then we will tighten up one side until it's snug, and then flip to the other side until it's snug. And now we can go back and forth tightening these. You want to do this in a back and forth manner so that you do not shift the compensator, because it will kind of rotate if you tighten one side too much. So you want to go back and forth. We recommend you use the provided Allen key, because if you try to use a bit set, we've seen instances where people snap off bits in their set screws. So we don't recommend doing that. If you do have to do that and you don't like the provided Allen key, we recommend 12 to 14 inch-pounds. But we just recommend using this provided Allen key. It's going to save you from potentially snapping off a bit if you have a cheap bit set. Now this is perfectly installed. We're going to go ahead and do a function check. Okay, everything seems to be working properly. One way you're going to know if you improperly installed this is there will not be an air gap between your compensator and your slide. You want to be able to see light between the compensator and slide so that you know you have enough clearance. When the slide reciprocates, it drops down, and you can have a pinching point at the top of the compensator and slide. You can go ahead and watch that action and make sure your compensator does not hit your slide, and you're good to go. So what you're going to do to uninstall the compensator, first things first, remove the mag, make sure the gun is clear, and then we will remove the slide from the frame. This is an uncaptured aftermarket guide rod. Same thing with the standard guide rod, just pull your guide rod assembly out. And then we will take the provided Allen key that you would get with your compensator and go ahead and start removing There might be a lot of Loctite on your compensator if you installed it properly. So this might be a little more difficult for some people if you apply a lot of Loctite, but we're gonna go ahead and remove these set screws all the way. Usually these come out pretty easy, but if there's a lot of Loctite on the barrel threads, what you can do is you can simply pull this barrel forward, take a lighter and light up the actual barrel portion behind the compensator. What that's gonna do is that's gonna heat up the blue 243 Loctite that we recommend you install with, and it will cause it to just come off pretty easy. You can just use a simple rag and loosen that compensator. Usually it works pretty good. We do not recommend using red Loctite for this because you would have to add a lot more heat to break the compensator loose. So now we're gonna go ahead and try to unthread this compensator and see how much Loctite is on here. I'm gonna lock it in place, give me a little more leverage. Okay, wasn't too bad. So now that this is broke loose, we can go ahead and unthread it. And if there's a bunch of Loctite on your barrel threads, what I would recommend doing is getting a wire brush, cleaning this off fully before you reinstall your compensator. Same with the threads in your compensator. Go ahead and fully clean that. You're gonna wanna get all the oils off the threads before you add new Loctite and reinstall the compensator. If you guys want more information about cleaning your compensator, go ahead and check out the video in the link in the description. It's gonna give you all the details on how to clean your compensator. Now for the frequently asked questions we get all the time about the HCPDP. First up is going to be, will this compensator work with all of the Walther PDP lineup? And the answer is yes. We found that this compensator works with every PDP that Walther offers. Question number 2, will this compensator make my gun unreliable? And the answer is no. We've done a lot of testing with this compensator to make sure that it's gonna run flawlessly with your stock setup. We have found that if you limp wrist this gun, you can have a weak ejection. That's why we threw in a aftermarket guide rod assembly. We also found that it makes this gun shoot a lot softer and a lot flatter. This gun is incredibly oversprung from factory, so throwing in a lighter recoil spring is going to help a lot with the actual recoil, and if you have a newer shooter that is limp wristing the gun, could help with reliability if you're running really crappy ammo. Number 3, what is the holster compatibility for the PDP setup with a Herrington Arms compensator? The answer is honestly, we just recommend running an open front holster. This does fit the profile of the slide. If you have a 5-inch Walther PDP holster and you buy the 4-inch Walther PDP and you throw our compensator on there, it will fit in a closed front holster. We recommend running an open front holster. It's just gonna be a little more universal for any setup you want to do with your PDP. Where can I buy the correct threaded barrel for my Walther PDP? Honestly, we found that Walther themselves sell a lot of the barrels for these guns. They're now offering different models that come with threaded barrels. You have to be careful though, because it can be kind of confusing buying a threaded barrel for your handgun. On Walther's website, you can look up threaded barrels and it will tell you in the description which barrel you need for your handgun. If you guys have any more questions about the Walther PDP compensator or the Walther PDP, go ahead and reach out to support@herringtonarms.com and we'll try to help you out. Otherwise, if you guys like this video, we'd appreciate it. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.